Talking with famous people.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So I always start these by asking, how many of my typing session videos have you seen before? A lot? A couple? Or
Well, I mean, I'd say around a couple, 5, 4.
okay,
I
cool.
mean, I can't. I
All
don't
right.
know what's a lot.
All right, cool.
Right?
Can you I'm going to take a slightly different approach here to begin today, which is to say, can you tell me your understanding of what introverted intuition is?
My understanding of introverted intuition. It's one of the perceiving functions. It's a way of making sense of what's around us in the world, and it works by um, trying to figure out, the story of something. So, example, I see somebody, like, let's say, one of my friends, and see him in a certain situation. I might say that, well, he probably had a bad day or something, and come up with probably a story.
Okay.
That's what I think that introverted intuition is.
Can you tell me about two of your favorite movies, and actually three of your favorite movies, and find one thing among all three that's a commonality?
Okay. Oh man, I haven't seen movies in a long time. Uh,
Or if there's
what's
some kind of medium that you consume more frequently, like say music, you could do three of your favorite songs, and or three of your favorite TV shows or books or whatever medium of thing you consume is fine. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be movies per se.
mm. All right. Let me remember some of the next Netflix series that I've watched. The last one. Um, yeah, I remember seeing um, one that had. I don't remember the name exactly. It's um, it has a AI that they develop in the future, and the AI goes back, sends them back. They don't only send their consciousness back to avoid the end of the world. Can't remember the name. Anyway, that's one of them.
Okay.
The other one is Sense8. That's another series that I like. What else?
Uh, so,
What else?
what did those two
Yeah,
have in common? Let's just start with two. What did those two have
it
in
has
common?
consciousness. I think that's the consciousness, the idea of consciousness.
Okay.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, the idea of transferring consciousness back from the future back and to avoid something. So that's something amazing, which is I mean, you can't say it would be impossible. But anyway, the other one is also Sensate, which has kind of a shared consciousness.
Okay.
Mm,
If you were going to, say you're playing a video game of some sort,
yeah.
and
Mm,
you're going to open a door in a dungeon, it's going to enter you into a new room, and you have the opportunity to change one thing about how you approach to improve your chances. You can either have more clarity about everything in the room all at once. You can have less hesitation. So, in other words, if there's a threat, you'll be more likely to attack it right away. You can have more capacity to engage with the environment. So, if there's a monster, you might be able to talk them out of a fight. Or you can have more time to make a decision.
no, I would say clarity. I want to know what's there. If there's no monster, there's no worry. If there is, yeah, clarity.
Okay. Do you have a second choice?
Mm, a second choice would be probably uh, having the ability to deal with the monster if he's in there.
So you're saying, oh, to interface with the monster, to
Yeah.
talk with them, or to be the quicker one to attack?
Well, I mean, if it's a dungeon, it would probably be attack.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, okay, cool. So,
Mm,
if you were looking for, let's say you owned a company that
mm,
made widgets, as they're called, the generic thing that it makes that it doesn't mean anything. They make widgets, and you
all
need
right.
you need to hire a communications director, and you're interviewing.
Okay.
First, as an open-ended question, what would you be looking for? Just tell me what you think you might be looking for in a candidate.
I would ask him how would you communicate to firing a colleague.
You're fired. What did they tell you
Oh no,
that?
no, that doesn't work. No, no, that's not. Yeah, but yeah, I think uh, that's the way managing how to, uh, disseminate the bad news. The good news, I could give it. I'd have
Okay.
no problem with that.
Okay. So if you had two candidates that were exactly even, but one had better ability to figure out complicated language and understand what it means, and one had a better ability to express themselves concisely, which would you prefer?
Express themselves concisely.
Okay. Let's say your job as owner CEO, you want to hire somebody to take on certain parts of that job that you don't like. What parts of that job that you be most likely to delegate?
Okay.
The overall job of CEO involves
Mm,
presumably everything at first, and then you can hire people to take on, like, oh, I want this guy to be the hiring person. I want this guy to be in charge of me. I want whatever.
mm.
So, what do you want to get? Which part of the
So,
overall boss do you want to get rid of first?
uh, anything that has to do with um, writing emails. Um, so any type of task that will require s- anything that will require me to go and do something. Actually, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
I,
if it's something to be done at the desk, I could do it. So,
let's say you order a chair from Amazon and it arrives and you didn't expect this, but you discover that it's not assembled yet. You've got to put it together.
all right.
Is that just like, okay, well, that won't be a problem, or is it like, and if it is like, is it nevertheless easy to do, or do you typically maybe put it together wrong first and then re-put it together or something like that?
No, I'll put it together. I've got no problem. I mean, I buy from IKEA. I like that part.
Okay.
Kind of puzzling it through.
Okay. Have you been to either a restaurant or perhaps like a coffee shop or something like that within the last couple of weeks?
Couple of weeks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me remember which one. Uh, wait. Yeah, okay, yeah,
All right.
remember it.
Can you recount from your trip there some
Mhm.
minor detail that you remember, but you also acknowledge has no significance? For example, the person you went with dropped their spoon and had to ask the waitress for another one. That would be insignificant, not really worth remembering, but you remembered it anyway.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that it wasn't crowded. I remember that there was a family sitting uh, on. There's a table around. There was around only. It wasn't really crowded. I remember only about two families, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Can you tell me about what you value more in a piece of media? Let's say somebody shows you recommends to you a YouTube video, and you click on it and you watch it. And
Mm.
one of the two example YouTube videos has a great amount of clarity about something, presents very clearly something that you already understand, but presents it in a way that helps you to understand it better. The other one is kind of a mess, but presents you with some new ideas you've never encountered before. Which do you prefer?
No ideas.
Okay.
Like no ideas.
If you, let's say you're at work and one of your colleagues wants to argue with you about the mail. They want to say, you're saying, it's a good thing that we are able to receive mail. And your colleague is a fierce advocate of the elimination of all snail mail. And so he's really getting passionate about this. And he's saying, I can't believe you think this, blah, 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 blah. So you're quite convinced, though, you're correct, nevertheless.
Mm.
Are you gonna argue it out, or are you gonna try to segue away from that conversation, or are you gonna agree to disagree, quote unquote, or are you going to just go along with what he says because who cares anyway, or what's your approach to that?
I'd love that discussion. I'll speak it, speak it out with him. Give him my points, and reach a conclusion. Most likely, this is part of the. So I mean, I'd actually stop for a second. Okay, I'll tell him. Okay, so you think that snail mail shouldn't be there because it's if he says, like, example, whatever reason, and okay, and then I'll go from there. So initially I'll try to discuss it and have it as kind of like a discussion, not as a fight, but as something, kind of like a something enjoyable. I mean, I wouldn't take it as a fight. I would argue it out, but as a discussion.
What's more important to you in a relationship? Is it fairness, that everything be equal? Like, if you're going to have two pieces of pizza, I get to have two pieces of pizza. Or that it be affirming, that your partner always says positive things about you instead of negative things.
In relationships only.
Yeah,
Not in general.
in a relationship, like a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife relationship, or something like that.
Okay. No, I don't really care about fairness between us. It would be the what's the other one?
Affirming.
Affirming. What exactly do you mean by that?
Okay, well, like in some relationships, one partner kind of counterbalances the other one and says, "Hey, Eric, you're being too MYAH right now." That's
All right.
that's a counterbalancing approach. An affirmative approach is one that very much at a great hesitancy ever utters anything that's negative about the person.
Okay. So a supportive kind of nature, right? Is
Yeah,
that
supportive rather than counterbalancing, or it's like
no support?
they both
Yeah.
go the same direction and multiply rather than balance.
Yes. Yes.
So
That's what I prefer.
you prefer multiplication rather than balancing in that
No,
regard? You prefer
I mean, I
balancing.
prefer balancing. Yeah, balancing with my wife.
Okay, cool. Um, when someone wants you to commit to a project of some sort, are you more likely to overcommit and underdeliver, or be underwilling to commit?
Overcommit, I would say.
Okay. How are you feeling right now, emotionally?
Good.
How do you think I'm feeling right now emotionally?
Good also. I mean, look pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, by the way,
two FE
I,
people, talking about FI right here.
I mean, I remember. I mean, I logged in online after around 6 o'clock, and I went to your channel, YouTube channel. Man, you had a topic going on.
Did I? I don't remember what we were talking about.
Oh no, I remember. It was about something that. Oh,
I don't even remember.
all right, that's good.
But okay. So I would say I would pause right here for a moment and just say that that exchange between that we just had there is an exchange of two FE people talking about FI. I said, "How are you feeling right now?" He said, "Good." How do you think I'm feeling? Good. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm feeling good, I guess." It's like neither of us are really. It seems a strange question, ultimately, on some level, I think. Because when people ask me that question, my textbook answer is normal. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
not in, not not sort of socked in with clouds of emotion, so therefore normal.
Hmm.
But so can you give me your understanding of the difference between FE and FI conceptually?
All right. I would say FE is about value, having knowing what would be accepted by the whole group, kind of knowing what the group wants. So if there's a decision up in a meeting, board meeting, so it's kind of like knowing what the decision is going to be beforehand. That's kind of it. In terms of how based on the values and um, the personalities of each person. If I think it has to do with how a person himself feels and understands those feelings.
Okay. If you walk out of a meeting,
Yeah.
and you've done your part, and you've done a little presentation in a meeting or something,
Hmm.
and then I stop you as you're walking back to your house or whatever. I say, okay, how do you think Bob perceived your presentation? How do you think Joe perceived your presentation? How do you think Steve perceived your presentation? And rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. And then after you give me your predictions, I go and I ask Joe and Bob and Steve to do their own ratings. How confident are you that your predicted ratings of their perception of your performance are going to be approximately the same as their actual ratings of their perception of your performance?
I would say I would say very close. I would even probably be able to tell you example why did the dean example didn't like when I said that point, or why I got the support of this other guy when I said that point.
So, are you
Yeah.
reading the people as you're doing this hypothetical presentation? Are you sort of reading their active engagement with you as you're doing it?
Yes, that would be part of it, and also a part of it, I would know that kind of where does this person stand on this point? Is he competing with me on resources, on getting the new copiers or printing machines, whatever? And I'm trying to get them and say that I don't have any printers. I mean, that type of thing. So I think that it would be very close.
Okay, cool. Uh, so, uh, let me ask you some TI questions, and these are deductive reasoning questions.
Hmm.
So, I'm going to start with genealogy. Now, the thing about these genealogy questions is that I don't know. I've encountered a lot of people who who speak English great, but nevertheless don't necessarily know all the English names for all the family members. So if that's the case, then let me know. But can you tell me who my mother's husband is in relation to me?
He would be my grandfather.
Right. Okay. Can you tell me who my sister's husband's only son's only sister is in relation to me?
Uh, nephew, is it be with nephew?
Niece. It's the girl.
Niece?
Because,
Okay.
yeah, sister's
Okay.
husband's only son's only sister would be my niece.
Niece.
Okay, cool. So that's fine. Let me try a couple other kind of TI questions. If either P or Q and not Q, what can we conclude?
P.
Okay. If some monkeys like cheese and all cheese likers enjoy mowing the lawn, is it necessarily the case that some monkeys enjoy mowing the lawn?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. If only Egyptians build pyramids and I have built a pyramid, am I an Egyptian?
No.
Okay.
Only Egyptian build pyramids?
If-
Only Egyptians build pyramids?
If only Egyptians build pyramids and I have built a pyramid, am I an
Oh yeah,
Egyptian?
you're of course, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let me ask you this. What do you think I've concluded about your answers so far? What do you think your answers have indicated in general to me so far? How much do you think you understand what I'm thinking about your answers?
I've got a kind of an estimate.
Okay. So, I mean, because what I've heard from you so far is FE, NI, obviously that means TI and SE as well, but I also can see the TI front stack right there in the TI answers, and the approach to the TI answers, I would say, is probably strong third, probably not second. So that narrows the choices down very dramatically right away. So, but let me do some things to confirm a bit where I'm heading here. All right, I would like to try to give you a couple questions from the RAT test. This is kind of an iffy test. I don't have a lot of faith in its correlation with introverted intuition, but it does tend to give me some information about NI, like where NI it kind of NI polar would show up probably in this. So it's not totally useless, but it's I can't necessarily link a absolute distinct utility to it in the sense that I go, this means MYAH, but it just sort of generally gives me information. So here's the RAT test, and I'm going to pull it up here in the shared screen. All right.
Oh man.
Now, look, the thing about this is, as you go down these, the best way to do it is simply to go like this: cottage, Swiss, cake. Now, the answer is cheese, because it goes with each of the three words: cottage cheese, Swiss cheese, cheesecake. But what you should do is give yourself a few seconds to see if the answer hits you. If not, just say pass, and we'll go on to the next one. I'll read them each out loud, okay?
All right. Just 1 second, please. Now, I've seen you do this before. If you can go from the end, it would be much more better, because I've already.
Okay, sure. Gotcha. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Have you seen these ones, or should I go down further?
I think go down further.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. So let's try the. We'll start here in these mediums, I guess.
all right. Okay.
I don't think I've ever really gone down this far. So,
Mm,
plain credit report.
card.
Rabbit Cloud House.
Hmm.
I don't know.
House.
White.
Oh, well, come on.
Yeah, white
Yeah.
cloud is white cloud's not good. Cloud white, that's not good. So that doesn't work in my opinion. Some of these
All
don't.
right.
You know, it's like you get down to the bottom, they're kind of iffy. Room,
Hmm.
blood, salts.
Blood, salt. Blood and salt.
Oh, I know this one.
Ah, okay. Um,
It's bath. Blood bath. That was the tricky one.
oh, come on.
Salt, deep foam.
Deep salt.
It's sea.
Foam.
But the thing is, you might not. Sea foam is a thing, but it's a very unusual word to use to say sea foam. So,
Yeah, I would think it's yeah.
yeah. Square cardboard open.
Box.
Water tobacco stove.
Water, tobacco, and stove. Water, stove. What's really water? Um, a pot.
Pipe.
Okay.
Ache hunter cabbage.
I. Okay. Um,
Ah. I know what it is. Its head.
okay.
Chamber staff box.
Staff box. Staff. Chamber room. No. Staff room. Chamber room. Boardroom. Board.
I don't know what it is either. It's music. Chamber
Music.
music. Music staff. Music
Ah.
box. That's a hard one.
Mm,
High book sour. These are hard. I don't know this one
yeah.
either.
Yeah. Uh, old high in book.
I don't know. The next one's easier. Lick sprinkle mines. High note. Notebook. Sour note. Yeah, okay.
No. Okay. Yeah. Lick sprinkle mines. Lick sprinkle. Oh, mines. Sprinkle mines. Lick mines. Lick sprinkle.
It's
Drops. Okay.
salt.
Salt. Okay.
Salt lick.
Mm-mm.
Let's try just one or two more of these.
All right.
Pure blue fall.
Water. That's what comes to mind. I know it might not work, but
Oh, you're right.
oh,
You got it. I didn't. Okay, how about this one? Snack line birthday.
snack. party?
Yeah. Party snack. Oh, party line. Oh yeah, that does work. Okay. Well,
Mm,
so here's the thing.
mm,
Uh, that's not. There's nothing that I saw there is inconsistent with where I was headed with this, which is,
mm,
I think I see nothing contraindicative of you being an INFJ.
mm,
You're definitely NI, not SI. The way that you solved that one by saying, I guess it was water comes to mind. You said, and like that's not how I solved those at all. I don't. The answer doesn't come to mind. The interesting thing is, I tend to be better at those questions than just about anybody I ever test. But I I don't use that NI approach. I find I find a word that goes with one of them and check to see if it goes with the others. And then I find another word that goes. If it doesn't, then I should find a word that goes with another one. Check to see if it goes with the others. If it doesn't, I find a word that goes with the third one. Check to see if it goes with the others. And that's how I did it. So it's a different
mm.
approach. It's an NE approach rather than an NI approach. The
That's
FE
right.
the FE is
Mm,
pretty clear from a number of things you said. One, the
mm,
way you approach the dungeon, it's a question I've never asked before, the dungeon room, but I like it a lot. You said basically your answer was, and I'm going to know, and then I'm going to interface. Until I clarified more, and you used your introverted thinking to conclude that since it was a dungeon, there probably wasn't a need to interface, so you were going to act. That's like right down the stack, INFJ, right? No interface, deliberate, act.
mm,
So the thing is, you chose deliberation as your last choice, but you used deliberation to choose your deliberation as your last choice
mm,
in the sort of the third role of instinct there.
mm,
Another reason why I think you're an INFJ as opposed to say an ENFJ is your TI is too good for an ENFJ and too good for fourth slot in general, and not it doesn't roll at the same speed as first or second slot does. So in other words, when I ask you TI questions, you pause, you think it through, you give me the answer.
mm,
TI one or
mm,
two would probably have the answer right as I finish the question because they're following along with me the whole time. So
mm,
that's one difference. But the other thing is you got almost all of the TI questions right.
mm,
I think you got one of the sum all questions wrong, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure, but and then your relationship with SI is also very similar to a lot of INFJs. INFJs tend to have problems sleeping, and
mm,
so like my girlfriend takes half of a Klonopin pill at night so she can
mm,
go to sleep. If she
mm.
doesn't, she starts getting wacky,
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
so
yeah, man.
that lack of sleep will kill you. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
so there's everything here is confirming to me is it's like everything's consistent and nothing's really standing out as inconsistent with you being INFJ. Can you now
Mm-mm.
tell me what you thought you were coming in?
Well, INFJ. That's honestly, and it's almost every test I've taken except one has told me INFJ or INT. Uh, INTJ.
P. J? Oh, that's weird.
Um,
Well, okay. Actually, it makes sense. The thing is, they're both NI DOMs. But what am I looking for? My cigarettes.
but the interesting thing, when I answered I put myself in the mindset that I'm at work. So answered every question as if I'm sitting at my desk at work.
Okay.
And that's what I got. So,
Okay. Interesting. So the thing is, when you're at work, you're typically using a lot more of your second and sixth slot function than when you're just at home hanging out.
mm,
Like the outside world demands of you stuff, And you tend to want to provide that stuff with your second slot function, first of all, which is your interface function, which for an INFJ is FE, which is to say you want to understand what it is that person's looking for, how to attain under their framework, so that you control the overarching situation that way. And then the sixth slot function though is FI. So for an INFJ, when they're answering questions as they would at work, they actually have the demonstrative function that basically never called for in a workplace. It's like you rarely does your workplace ask you to use your FI. So for me, my demonstrative function, if I was going to answer questions as it was when I was at work, I'd probably show up with a lot more TE. And what you say is you answer the questions, you get either INFJ or INTJ. Well, that is possibly because your six slot function really doesn't demonstrate much, because unlike just about every other function, it doesn't have much utility in a workplace. So yeah, it's like, I guess the demonstrative FI in an INFJ plays out basically as you're aware that in order to interface with other people according to their motivations and what they want and what's important to them, and managing perceptions in that fashion, that you're going to have to give some of your own motivations and such in order for them to feel a sort of a mutual emotional resonance and therefore engage in the way that you want to. Of course, INFJs tend to reveal only exactly what they want to about themselves, and so it's kind of a fake trade. Like the intimacy the INFJ offers is much thinner than the intimacy they receive back in terms of knowing the person, right? So the INFJ is always knowing the other person better than the other person's knowing them. And that's especially so in a workplace, because the demonstrative FI is turned down from the natural state of the sixth slot thing is to display your own but that's not really that relevant in most workplaces. So we've got 15 minutes or more left. Really, we started a little late. So I'd like for you, if you have any questions, thoughts, or areas you'd like me to talk about, or anything else, direct the conversation, please do so.
All right, thanks. Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for making it very easy. And I was, really being truthful when I said that it's almost I'm going to be meeting somebody that I know. I was honest about it, and I mean, because I've seen you a lot. I mean, and the way that the attitude that you take, it's almost like, you would actually behave like if I was speaking to a friend. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks. I appreciate hearing that.
I've got a little bit of two. Okay. First of all, there has been this question that I've been looking for the answer for, which is the INFJ and why are they so, their numbers aren't that much. And I've got probably two ideas about this. What do you think about them? First of all, it's almost like when you think about it, you think about hands, when people that write with their left hand or right hand. So that's in terms of why are they so rare. Okay, why are people that write with their left hands so rare?
Okay, well, I don't know about the left hand, right hand thing. As far as why left-handers are so much more rare than right-handers, I have, frankly, no idea. Except my understanding of it is it's basically a inverted brain construction, such that it's some sort of like hemisphere switch, basically, that you're what normally is defaulted to one hemisphere is in the other, and the other is the other. So I'm not sure why that happens. As far as rarity among types, that's again, it's hard to say why exactly, but it is possible to make the following observation.
Yeah. Also, mm,
That intuitives need sensors a lot more than sensors need intuitives.
yes. I'd also think that it's a matter of observation that most sensors and extroverts are there to see.
Right.
and,
Well, I mean, but they're extroverted
and
intuitives too. So the thing is, it is the case that there are very few I've found actual ENTPs like in the world. I
mm,
haven't encountered very many of them. Most people who say they're ENTP aren't. Same thing is true of INFJs
mm,
and INTJs and to maybe a slightly lesser extent INTPs. The thing is, those four types seem to be very rare. ENTJs aren't common either. And the other intuitives are getting a little more common with your ENFJs, ENFPs, INFPs. But the thing is, I'm confident that INFJs are extremely rare, even though my availability heuristic says otherwise. In other words, around my channel, there are a fair number of INFJs, a fair number of INTJs, a fair number of INTPs, and the reason is, and not hardly any ENTPs. The reason is because I'm providing extroverted intuition, which is an absolute value for NIDOMs. That's your two INTJ, INFJ. And as far as like INTPs go, well, I'm speaking their same language with TI. I'm validating on their TI grounds, and they kind of feel like I'm that we're working together intellectually separately, you know.
mhm,
So it's like, yeah, I see a lot of INFJs. There's the types that have me
mm,
type them include INFJs, ISFPs, both of who have NI as an absolute value, and ENTJs who have NI as a tool function, who and also are very outcome oriented.
mm,
You know, the thing is, for most people in the world, these considerations about identity patterns and how they are informative about humanity aren't considerations that matter very much. So I almost never get any ISTJs come get me to type them. Occasionally, one who thinks he's an INTP will show up.
mm.
I never get any ESTJs. I never get any ESFJs. I don't think I've ever had an ESFJ. So why? Is it because there are so few ESFJs? No, it's because they don't care at all about the abstractions.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that makes sense.
But the thing is, the world doesn't need that much abstraction. It's like,
Mm,
how many Erics does it need? there's so much of this Eric. Why? It's
mm.
more of this Eric than anyone could possibly ever want. Why would you need a shit ton of Erics? You know?
uh, well, all right. Um, the other point that came to mind, my daughter is around. She's in her first year in college, all right,
Hmm.
and she really has no idea where she's going. What's her? I mean, I really do think that if she had at least an idea of what she likes, her personality. I mean, I think that actually would be a little bit difficult to get from her what she likes. So, do you think it's? I mean, I'd really love if she could. I'll speak to her, of course, and ask her if she would. And I kind of think that she would. Is that is something that I could arrange later on?
Yeah, sure, of course. The thing to remember is
Mm,
we all approach life with our own dominant function as a default, as a kind of function, either acting, knowing, deliberating, or interfacing. So what you
mm,
just said there is, I sure do wish my daughter knew. So
mm,
it's like, if your daughter's an action type,
mm,
then that would be suggestive of your lamentation, right? If only my daughter used her knowledge function more to know what
mm,
she wanted to do, or even worst case scenario, her feelings function more to know. It sounds like, right off the bat, you're describing an INFJ father's response to an action type with TI as a tool function. Either ENTP or ESTP. That's what my initial guess would be, just from what you said.
I'll arrange it with you through
Okay.
email. All right,
All right. Cool.
Eric. Thanks very much.
Oh,
It's been a pleasure. Really.
Talking